Perfect. And then I'm going to unmute Mary and Colin and Rebecca and our teacher. Okay. Are we all here? Are we all together? Do we hear me? Are we good? Give me some thumbs up.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you again for being here. And with that, I would love our panelists who are speaking today to go around and introduce themselves. So your name, how long you've been a part of Action in Africa, what your role with Action in Africa is, and yeah. So John, do you want to kick it off?
Hello, everyone. My name is Chimera John Mbangia, and I've worked with Action in Africa for 3 years. My role at Action in Africa is basically to work with the learners. I wouldn't love to use the kids with the learners because it contains a lot, the secondary and then the primary and sometimes even the university. I do a primary partnership program with the schools that are around Nankwade. Then if I'm not doing the primary partnership program, I'm always doing a program that is called Men to Men that has been initiated in 2022 for the men, because I believe that also men have problems that they need to share, and also would love to groom the boy child so that we make a better leader for tomorrow. Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks, John. Rebecca, you want to go?
Welcome, everybody. It's so nice to have you here. I'm Nachijoba Rebecca. It's my 4th year working with Action in Africa, and for now, the program's director. Thank you. Hey. Yes, sir.
Awesome. Thanks, Rebecca. Mary?
Hello, everyone. My name is Mary Nachide, and I'm Action in Africa scholarship graduate. I joined Action in Africa in 2008, and I've been part of the organization ever since, and I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
Welcome.
And Colin, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, Sarah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, hello, everyone. Welcome on this platform. My name is Muyod Colin. I've worked with Action in Africa for the last 3 years, and I'm not so different from John, because we work as a team, we work together. We have joined as a team. So I work as a primary partnership program facilitator. That is to say, I also work with the learners in the primary partnership program. Later on, we shall be talking more about the program, and you'll be understanding better what we actually do when we say we work with the learners. Besides that, I also work with the teachers to ensure that they understand best some of the things we do with their learners. So at the end, we don't want them to go back. We don't want the learners to get back to their schools and they are confused, the teachers are confused. So we always want to ensure that we are together, the parent, the teacher, and the learner. So thank you. Looking forward to a bigger discussion together.
Awesome. And Colin, do you want to introduce our teacher that we have with us today?
Yes, amongst us is Teacher Luanga. He's somewhere there. That's why you see there is Amuyod Colin, and Amuyod Colin is somewhere. I shared a link with him. So that is Teacher Luanga Charles. He's a teacher at Xavier Junior School. He has been working with us ever since the school joined us. So he's one of the teachers that come with the learners around the center, that comes as he's one of the best teachers during the workshops, I can say.
And Teacher Lawanga, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what school you teach at and what class you teach?
Okay, it's afternoon, evening here, and I'm so happy to be part of this meeting. My name is Charles Lwanga. I'm a teacher at Xavier Junior School. I do teach English, P6, P7, and I'm the Director of Studies at Xavier Junior School. That's all about me.
Awesome. Thank you, Teacher Charles. So the conversation and theme for today's summit is all about our primary partnership program and the primary education system in Uganda. So don't forget, you can put questions in the chat box and we'll get back to them towards the end of this panel. But a quick overview of just the primary education system in Uganda. It's comparable to here in the US if you were to like squish elementary school and middle school together. So in Uganda, it starts at primary 1 and goes through primary 7. When you complete primary 7, you then presumably continue on with your education to high school, which they call secondary. For us as an organization, we partner with schools in the community of Nankwade and offer them a variety of programs and services to help their teachers, to help their schools, to help their students. And we are going to tell you all about that today. But obviously, we are coming out of a 2-year pandemic that honestly is still continuing, but it has thrown all of us for a loop, especially in Uganda. So that means our schools were closed more or less for the last 2 years. And with that, this team here on screen really pivoted and thought outside the box and came up creatively with a program to support the teachers and support the students and support the schools while schools were closed. So with that, Rebecca, will you tell us a little bit about the distance learning program that so many people who are here today helped support and were a part of?
Thank you so much, Sarah. So considering the 2 years lockdown, we realized that a lot was going in our community. A lot of effects whereby kids had started developing negative thoughts towards studies, considering the fact that they had been aged in those 2 years, like they couldn't access the academic materials from the schools as the schools were closed. Some of them had been exposed to child labor, whereby they had been told to sell out masses for survival and do some other domestic work, and others were exposed to verbal and physical abuses at home. So with this, as the PPP team and Action in Africa in general, we decided to come up with the long distance learning program that John is going to lead us through, but mentally that we had to help them. There were other effects too, generally in the community and our teachers, as they were unemployed by the time. There was poverty, with them, there was increased level of stress and depression, there was loss of life in the community. This generally affected the community, the teachers and the kids. So we had to come up with some solutions to see how best we could help. And among these programs, the long distance learning program that John will take us through.
John, take it away. Tell us a little bit about the distance learning program that we just did.
Once again, it is a pleasure to be on this very platform to take you through the long distance program. When we are developing as a team the long distance program, we are looking at the 5 W's, that is who, where, what, how, whom. So the whom were, or the who and whom were the students and the teachers plus the parents, because we thought that yes, even when the schools are closed, At one side, we felt maybe it could be another part of maybe say it is a great thanks to COVID, because you find that most of the parents would always leave all the work that is meant to be done about the child to the teachers. Always you find that it is only the teacher doing the parenting, the teacher doing the teaching. So there was a lot of work. So we thought that if we develop such a program and we come up with different types of works, it would be much better for them to come into a connection with the parent, the teacher, and maybe with also the guardian and anyone in the community. So in the long distance program, we had the creative writing, we had the skipping rope activity, we had the art, and we had the mindfulness. When we created the creative writing, we thought of keeping these kids having the ideas that we had instilled in them for the last within those two years that they had closed the schools, but they still remember that there is a chance of always thinking critically and creating my own story, and I make it believable so that someone would read it and get interested and believe that it was there, even though the story wasn't there. That is the reason as to why we had the creativity, and also we are looking at also the writing and keeping them speaking the English so that they could make correct spellings, correct sentences. When we come to the skipping rope, we are looking at their health and also relaxing their minds, because there was a lot. All the schools are closed, and once they think of opening, they open once and then they close, and then they think maybe school is normal, so they had to relax their mind and always have that mind to think, to believe that schools will be open, and also to be active. Then the mindfulness, I think, we thought as a group that there is a lot that is going through within the minds of these very kids. They have a lot to share. So whenever we could give them papers to write on, because mindfulness, it includes different activities of what they would explain on what they've gone through, maybe a whole day or a week or a year. So you find that whatever they papered down, you feel that there is something that had been going through their mind. So, and they could only share it through the writing, especially maybe someone hadn't eaten food, maybe someone is scared of going back to school because I'm old, things like that. And then we had the art. The art, we are looking at the talent, because I believe most of the kids are given different talents, and we look at once we come to art, we have maybe the imaginative, we have the composition, we have the shading. So we looked, as we are creating this very work, we are looking at very many ideas. And as I've said, connecting connecting them with their parents. Also, to give a chance to the teachers also to look into this very work and find a way how they can improve on the different basics of teaching, not always looking forward to using the textbook, but they could always think out of the box and maybe come within a song, and then they teach their own topic, and a child could understand. Because once we were reading through, I remember me and Colin, we are looking through the curriculum of primary 5 and primary 7, and you could find that what we are doing is really presented or written down within the books, but it is, I think, maybe one of the cultures of where maybe the teachers go to different colleges, to different universities, so they carry what they've been taught to the other side, and they continue using it here. But I believe also those ideas are shared, but due to maybe also the leaders in the offices, the administrators could not be letting them to use these different methodologies. And yet I think it would be one of the best ideas or methodologies for someone to understand and will never forget about what is being taught in class. Another thing, we had, apart from the creation of the long distance work, we also looked at also the workshops, because we also had different workshops with the teachers. I think it was one of the best period of time that we could hear every teacher's idea, every teacher's new topics that they would come up with, because most of the topics were developed by the teachers, and you found out we came to find that these people had really welcomed these workshops that we are carrying out, that they had picked a lot of interest, and they would always love to get involved every time. So I think another thing was to keep the kids also active within their premises or places where they are, so that they do not sleep, they do not let the mind sleep, and also to give a thought of hope and encourage the kids that schools will open, and school will resume, and everything will move on very fine. Because at one point you could always go to schools, or you could maybe interact with the kids, and you find that you ask them, what is one of your best programs that you have, sorry, one of the best works that you really love. Once you come to pick up the work, you find someone is explaining the art, the other one is the skipping rope, the mindfulness. So I thought that keeping that in mind, when they report back to school, they would still find that things are still the same. They haven't changed. We haven't forgotten anything. We still know our English. We are still in the proper lineage of learning. And yeah, that is all I can explain about long distance learning. Unless I've forgotten something, maybe one of my colleagues will have to give an addition. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. One thing that I just want to highlight from all of that, I mean, gosh, you guys did so much during that season of lockdown, was just the sense of belonging that you provided so many kids and parents and teachers with during a really tumultuous time. So great work to you and your team. And we do have a question really quick that I'll get to because it's relevant. John, how many schools were we working with for the long distance programming, and approximately how many students were beneficiaries? Rebecca might know that answer too.
The beneficiaries, the students were around 598, and we are working with five schools, sorry. That is Victoria's, Raising Up Hope, we had Savior Junior School, we had Step by Step, and then we had All Saints.
Amazing. Great work. With that, Teacher Charles, do you want to tell us a little bit about the impact the long distance learning program had on your students, and what participating in the teacher workshops were like for you, and just overall the impact Action in Africa has had on your school?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. Now, as Xavier Junior School or as a teacher, that program was very important to us. It was important to the teachers, the children, the school, the parents. But I'm going to begin with the teachers. Like teachers, remember, we were in a lockdown. So the program kept us in the education direction. You know, most of the teachers left the system. But for us who had a chance to attend the program at the premises of Action, we were kept in the education direction. That's why we are still teaching. So it was important in that way. Secondly, as Teacher John has said, we also got new knowledge and skills, especially when it came to making teaching aids. We were told that we can make teaching aids just from the things around us, like the plastics, the sticks, the bottle covers, the bottles. So we got new knowledge and skills of making teaching aids. Then we also got new teaching methods, new good teaching methods. Personally, you know, we follow the curriculum, but as a teacher, you have to be creative when you're teaching. And being creative is not something simple and easy to learn. But when we joined that program, we learned the creative way of teaching, and it was made easy. I don't know how they did it, John and Collins, but they eased the teaching methods. And I remember chatting with them that I also changed the way I teach. For example, when I'm teaching vocabularies, I got new skills from there. When I'm teaching comprehension, and those skills, like, they make the learners enjoy the lesson. Then, as a teacher, I learned how to reward learners or appraise learners in class. You know, we are used to saying very good, thank you, like that. But we learned good ways of rewarding our learners. And they did it to us. The facilitators we got, they rewarded us, and we also enjoyed it. Now, I just imagine if an old person like me enjoyed being rewarded, how about the learner? So I learned that. Then, to the children, the program kept them busy. Remember, we were having a lockdown. Many learners had become hawkers. Many were mistreated by their parents. Others had joined bad groups, but the program kept them busy. It kept them busy. It saved them from bad groups, and then they also acquired new skills and knowledge. So the learners also achieved so much. Still on the children, they also got scholastic materials. They got books, they got pencils, they got pens, they got sets, and even some of them got scholarships. So I'm happy for that, for the program. Then I remember they also got ropes. They were skipping ropes, they were playing, so it kept them physically fit during that program. Then, as a school, remember the program was for teachers, and keeping the teachers in the education system or in that education direction, it saved the schools we are working in the burden of looking for new teachers, because their teachers were kept in the line of the education system. So the teachers, that our schools didn't look for new teachers because we were trained. Secondly, the schools have now good teachers with good skills, the teachers who are creative. So I'm happy for the program, and I pray that you continue with that. That's what I can say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Teacher Charles.
You're
So
welcome.
that's a quick little overview of the distance learning program that so many of you helped fund, attending all of our virtual classes that we've done over the last couple of years, all your donations. You made all of this possible, and it's just incredible to hear the firsthand accounts of the impact that your support has had. But with that, we are so excited because that program was amazing, but that's not what we love, and that's not what we do. We have programs for schools when kids are in school, and we are just so excited that schools are now back open after 2 years of being closed. So we are getting back into a routine of our usual programming at Action in Africa. And with that is the usual primary partnership program. And Colin, now that schools are back open and we're getting back into our usual routine, will you tell us a little bit about the PPP program and what that looks like now?
Okay, thank you. Yes, right. Just as Sarah has mentioned it, schools are open, kids are back to school, teachers are back in the classroom, and Action Africa is back to its normal programming. PPP, what do we mean when we say PPP? PPP is Primary Partnership Program. It is called so because, just as earlier mentioned, we partner with the different primary schools around the community, that is Nankwade. And we take them through the different creative learning activities. Currently, we are working with the different schools. That's say All Saints Junior School, Xavier Junior School, Victoria Junior School, Step by Step School, Raising Up Hope, and we are hoping that by the time we restart, we have very many schools on board. So to talk more about the program, what we mean when we say the primary partnership program and its creative learning classes. The primary partnership program has mainly three departments, I may say. Okay, let's call them activities. We have the creative learning classes, the teachers professional development workshops, and then the porridge program. I'll mainly concentrate on the creative learning classes because they've already talked about the other programs, and I'm sure more people will come up and talk about the porridge program. Otherwise, the program has produced the students that form what we call the AIA scholarship secondary program. Because what happens here? What happens is that after the primary students have graduated in primary 7, we always have those that get the chance to qualify for the secondary scholarship program. And then it is from this that we get people that are going to later come back as internship students. So it also forms the internship program and later on the university scholarship program. And that's why we have the likes of Mary on this platform talk more about that program. The distance learning, the creative learning program under the PPP is a program where we have creative learning activities. During these activities, we go to the primary schools that I said we will partner with, and we always look out for P4, P5, P6, and P7 because these are the upper classes. We spotted out the upper classes because we hope or we assume that this is the age or the level where kids are able to reason out, and they can easily reason out maturely and not in a kiddish way, because it would be better for us to be having kids that you tell, hey, do this, and they can be able to do it, rather than they are still at kindergarten level. So that's why we opted for P4 up to P7. So when they come to the center, that is not more than an hour. It is always for between 45 to an hour minutes with us. So it is during that time that we go through a various series of activities. This will include drama classes, music, dance, poem, creative writing. I can't mention them all, but there are so many. So what we usually do is we combine these activities. We call them creative activities. We combine them with the topics that they learn, or the topics that were built by the national curriculum. And then we always want to ensure that we are in line with the curriculum, such that when we come to your school and we are talking about, when we bring your kids to our center and we are talking about the creative learning program, we are still in line with the academic standard of what they are studying and during the academic system. So let's say English, math, SST, and science. So that's why so the program answers the question of why, what, and how. What do I mean? We are dealing with the education system that whereby we have teachers that are coming in front of us and they are just talking and talking and talking, and we are listening. What happens in our program? Our program is we, the facilitators, are seated and we are listening to the learners. We are watching the learners. The learners are teaching us and we are just guiding them. And because of that, we are able to answer the question of what, how, and why. What happens later on in the future? What happens later on in the future is that a kid is going to be able to reason out things by themselves. A kid is going to be able to solve problems by themselves, and they're not going to be able to run to their parent. They are not going to be able to run to their teacher. So we are hoping that this program is able to create responsible leaders, responsible citizens, responsible people that are going to be able to, we are looking at someone that can be able to sit down and write their own CV minus hiring someone. we are looking at someone that can be able to sit an interview and pass it, minus saying, hey, can you sit it for me? No, we want an independently thinking learners, and that is what the program is all about. So we have seen a lot of impacts on this program, and just as I have mentioned, some of the things that we are hoping later on can happen, they have already happened. That right now we already have kids in secondary level that are taking on leadership roles, and they have gone to bigger schools, and when they ask them, where have you gone to primary level, they say some school deep down in Nankwadi, and everyone is wondering, hey, where is that school? But where is the miracle? The miracle is behind the creative learning classes that we do under the primary partnership program. So as the schools reopen, we are hoping that we can relaunch this program probably next term, but we are working together to see that we can have more kids, more schools, and more teachers come on the program, because we want to create a bigger impact countrywide and worldwide. So that's all about the primary partnership program.
Thanks, Colin. I think for me, one of my favorite parts about that part of the PPP program is that the kids get to get out of their classroom and their environment and come to our environment, which looks very different, is filled with music and laughter and colors and space to get a little messy and create and play. So to just break up the monotony of the day in a life in a classroom is just a real joy to watch. John and Colin are magical leaders, and watching them in action is just very, very cool. With that, Colin had alluded to, we have a porridge program, and with our partner schools, we provide a daily breakfast as a part of our partnership with them. And I want to introduce Mary, who has been a part of Action Africa really since the beginning, and has been a part of all the different facets of Action Africa. So she started as a secondary or as a primary scholarship student, then secondary, then university. Most of you know this, but she graduated from university on the night of our gala in December. So the timing was just so exciting. But a part of her role at Action Africa is she actually interned with us and then worked with us before university. And Mary, will you tell us a little bit about what you did when you were interning and working with Action Africa and how that ties into the PPP program in Porridge?
Wow. Thank you for that great introduction, and Sarah. Working and doing internship at Action Africa, those are one of my best days in Action in Africa, because I got so exposed to interact and work with different people. And I will talk more about the primary partnership program, and under that, I'll talk more of the porridge program. So the porridge program, this was the time, and this is when Action Africa provided the sugar, the flour, and milk to different schools that included Victoria, Step by Step, and All Saints primary schools. And so during break time, kids would come and have a cup of porridge before they go back to their classes. And it was really great that you find in many schools, the parent has to pay school fees and at the same time pay money to feed their students or their kids, which is very, very hard for parents here to afford. And Action in Africa's intention was to make sure that a kid does not, or a student does not go to class on an empty stomach. So you would find that schools with big number of students turn up. We would serve like 340 students. Those are cups of porridge, and a school with low turn up of students would serve like 125 cups of porridge a day, which was very, very, very exciting. And so majorly my role was to go and make sure that the food materials were delivered, like the flour, the sugar, and the milk, and be able to measure what will be used for the next day. I also observed good hygiene because our intention as Action in Africa was not to make the students and the staff members sick, but to make them have a health life. That's why I would go with the cooks to the stores and make sure we clean the place and make sure we store everything very well. Uh, the porridge program impacted a lot with the students, the teachers, the parents, because for the students, it was really good for them to enter the class when they are not hungry. So it opened their minds and they were excited. They are not screaming, but they were happy and ready to hear what the teachers had for them. And the teachers, this was so motivating because you find many schools in Uganda, they do not feed their teachers, and the teacher would come to the class very frustrated. They want to cane the students, but teachers, after taking also for it, they would come and be ready, and the school as well. The parade program also helped with the schools that they increased because everyone would want to go where there is help. So if a parent hears that Action in Africa is working with, let's say, Xavier Junior School, the parent would be like, I'm taking my child to Xavier Junior School because I know they'll be helping me with the porridge and the feeding of my kid. So I will only be looking for money to pay the school fees, which was really, really life-changing. And the other thing is the performance of the students. They're having more and good grades because they are living a health life. They really love the porridge, and we made sure that Action in Africa provides the best quality of flour and milk for the students to take. And so I remember it's always called break time, but students would actually call it porridge time, and they're so excited for that break, which really helped them that by the time they went back to classes, they're very, very ready and excited to learn. Yes. Thank you.
So good. Obviously, we all understand the importance of making sure kids have meals and healthy meals and are fed before they're in the classroom. That's the priority of that program. But I am just beside myself when I think about how Mary started with us as a primary student, and then she's now working in primary schools, or when she was working with us, was working in primary schools in the same community that she grew up in, and was leading this program and was responsible for it. So seeing the whole thing come full circle, and for her to be a leader, and for all of our young girls to look up to, it's just so powerful. So thank you, Mary, for being a part of Action Africa and for being such a great mentor and leader and example for the community in Nankwade. You're the best.
You're welcome, Sarah.
With that, Rebecca, I'd love to invite you back to share kind of your closing thoughts and favorite parts of the PPP program, and why, as the programs director, you so deeply believe in it. And then after that, we will pivot to some closing comments and questions from the audience. But Rebecca, wrap us up. Oh, I think you're on mute. Let me unmute you.
Thank you so much, Sarah, once again. And as we're closing, I would like to extend my appreciation to each and every person's efforts to see these programs standing. Because considering our goals as Action in Africa for the Primary Partnership Program, it all works out because of your support. And still this year, as we're planning to resume, our goals are still standing. to realize and nurture students' hidden potential, just as it was described by the primary partnership facilitators, like improve their talents and everything. We would like to still create a creative environment for the learners, like for them to change environment. You know, when you're in one place, you may feel bad, but every time they come at the center, they feel like it's a new place. They freshen up, like they get exposed to different types of learning skills and learn more. We would like still to keep, to improve their health. Like Mary mentioned in the primary partnership programs, these kids get breakfast, which is porridge with milk. And when they come to the center, they get nutritious snacks. So this helps them keep their health so well and in line. And we would still love to encourage academic successes in our community. This is through providing the workshops to the teachers, partnering with the schools. We'll still keep on that, and would love to ensure caring and engaging approach to education. You know, like there is a system in Uganda whereby at one point a teacher just gets in a class, teaches and leaves. But with creative learning programs under PPP, I totally believe it's a different case, and it helps learners improve their grades. So roughly this primary partnership program has helped a number of schools in the community, whereby schools are now getting more and more students. For those ones who are part of the program, they know that when I join this school, my child's breakfast is catered for. Like at one point when my child reaches P70, she may get the scholarship from Action in Africa, because it's one of the things that we always give out. These programs have helped kids acquire essential life skills, like the problem solving, self-esteem, confidence, and many more. And still, these programs have helped kids see the world from a wider perspective. Like if you find a child who has gone through primary partnership program, you can notice the difference with someone who has never been part of these programs, whereby they can easily express and well express themselves. They are creative, like even during COVID, you could realize that someone is like, oh, I'm making soap, oh, I'm focusing, like my talent is helping me, like I was playing football at Action in Africa. So a lot of advantages, Julie, are gotten from these programs. And we're so grateful that these programs have helped kids improve their English grammar. Like they are getting better, that the 4 years they spend on the creative learning program, or the number of years they improve their writing, their reading, and speaking of the English language. So still, these programs have strengthened the relationship of the kids, of the learners, with their teachers and the parents. If someone knows how to express themselves, it's easy to talk to the teacher, to the parent, and they can easily understand. And getting on the side of the teachers, it has helped them so much that they have improved their creativity and the way they teach, like the students, making them more valuable to their schools. So with that, I would like still to appreciate everyone who does support these programs, and still to call upon you to continue supporting us so that the community can get exposed, and the schools, kids, and the teachers to these benefits for this year and more years to come. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Rebecca. So that concludes our conversation and discussion about the primary education system in Uganda and Action Africa's primary partnership program. I have no questions coming through the chat box, so we can wrap this up a bit early. Or if anyone has any questions, you can do the little raise your hand feature and we can do them live. But before we go, I wanted to just make sure we throw this on everyone's radar. Our next quarterly summit will be June 18th. So we will have 4 of these a year. They'll be on Saturday mornings. Bring your coffee. It's very casual. And the topic for that will be about our Women to Women program, as well as our special needs program. So come and meet some of our participants from those 2 programs, meet some of the staff that lead those programs as well. and we hope to see you there. But with that, this concludes today. If you have any questions or comments before you say goodbye, feel free to unmute yourself. But special round of applause to our team in Uganda and to Mary, our students. Thank you all for being here and sharing your perspective on our work in Uganda. I think people sometimes get sick of hearing from me and hearing our newsletters, so it's great to hear it directly from all of you who are in the thick of it every day. So thank you all. And if anyone has any closing comments, but this concludes our first ever quarterly summit. Thanks for coming.